Chicago back then, and maybe still now, is what I would call a very segregated city. If you walk one street over, all you will see are a Mexican community. If you walk one street over that way, you will see an African American community. And if you walk one street over that way, you'll see a Chinese community or an Asian community of some kind. And the rule then was you never cross your streets. You never go that way or you never go that way unless you have people with you that can protect you, that can take care of you. When I came to California, I came here on a night flight, so I never really saw what this place looked like. And then I stayed with an aunt. And so the very first day when I woke up at her neighborhood, the very first thing that I remember was that I went outside to get her mail, and I saw all these other people of other ethnicities living right next to each other. And I had never seen that before. And I was shocked. And it took me many years to get used to that, because that's not how you grow up. You know, where I'm from, you always grow up like this, holding your guard, looking around you, figuring out who's going to do something to you and who can you take care of, and knowing that you're going to be fighting like that. I'll give you guys another eye-opener experience so you know. The elementary school that I described for you earlier was half Latino, half African American. And when that bell rang at 3 o'clock, the principal would only send out the Latino students first to go home, and then wait 10 minutes, and then the African American kids would go home. And then the next week, they would switch them around. We never went out together, never. So, you know, you come here to a state that is very diverse, and you got to put your hands down and figure out what's going on here. And that was the biggest culture shock for me. No. Where I came from, like I said, even in the Latino neighborhood that I grew up with, you either went to work in a factory pretty young, or you joined a gang. And you picked one of those two. And I went back to visit my sisters who still live there in the same neighborhood a couple of years ago, and those same kids that went the gang route and they were standing in the corner, when I went back there 20-something years later, they were still there in that corner. Some of them had died, and some of them gone to jail. And whatever were left were still in that corner. And I thought to myself, it's a good thing that I saw that when I was a kid, and it's also a good thing that I left that when I was a kid, because I was never joined a gang, but I had many friends who did, and now they're either dead or they're still in that corner. And I'm very happy that I did what I had to do to get away, and so I do think about that all the time. What you know, when you get older, you always think about, what if I did this? What if I did that? What if I hadn't done that? And that's one of those questions that I said, what if I hadn't left? What would I have done? So I always kind of go to bed and think, I'm glad I did. Well, many things. Now that I'm married, my wife and my kids, when I was kind of moving up through the ladder, my parents, you know, I thought about how hard they worked and where they came from and how they never had an opportunity to go to school. And my dad only went to second grade in Mexico, and my mom never went to school. And every time that they were working really hard and they saw me at the dinner table doing my math that they did not understand, they would just say, just keep on working hard, just keep on working hard. And when they would say that at that time, I thought, well, I wish you could help me. But after a while, I thought, I have to be successful, because otherwise everything that they did is washed away. And so I always thought, the only way that I can thank them for all the sacrifices that they made is if I make it somewhere. do my best and try to do something with my life so that they can say, oh, my son, he's a lawyer now. And that's part of the motivation, is to thank my family, to thank my wife and my kids. And the last part is to the community that I came from. Like I said, no one ever came to my school to talk to me about things. And I want to at least do my part to show kids that, hey, if you study really hard, you can be a lawyer too.
I'm Amber Pearson.
I'm Stephanie Ramirez.
I'm Justin Nichols.
And I'm Cindy Casares.